Okay, so now we can work on the bearing removal. So the first thing we've got to do is get the rubber seals off. And that just came straight out, easy as pie. And you might be able to see that with these old style bearings, the bearings are exposed, so that would have needed to be packed with grease. You see that they are, this is the old grease. With the new ones are sealed on both sides. And now I've flipped it over, and we've got the same on this side. We've got a rubber seal to get out. And again on this face here's a circlip holding things in place. So now we've got to try and drift these bearings out, and there's a tube in here that's a spacer. So what you have to do is just try and push this spacer tube to one side. You can just see it there, I think. You push the spacer tube to one side, and then you can get a little bit of bearing on the opposite edge, and you just drift a little bit on that edge and then push the tube across to the other side and try a little bit on that edge. So I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see clearly here, look, here's the spacer tube pushed to one side. So you push it to one side like that, and you can just get on the inner race of the bearing, and then you push it across to the other side. You can't see that now, but then you can try again just to drift a little bit on this side. So that's how we're going to do it. Just trying to get all the little bits of crap and debris out of there if we possibly can, as much as we can. So now that's all pretty clean in there, I'm going to flip it over and try and drift it out from the reverse side. So now I can just free this off, and we can look at the inner bearing just here. Now I think this is the problem, because I can see rust and corrosion on it. So now we've got to drift that out. So now that I've managed to get some free play in the bearing at the bottom, you can see this spacer is moving around very freely now. So I was obviously making some headway moving the bearing out at the back. So there was just a resounding kind of thud, and I think we've got the bearing out down there. And that's the spacer. This is the bearing that on the outer face looked like it was the better one, but on the inner face there's a whole load of corrosion, and it looks quite grubby in there. There's a spacer in there which is pretty corroded, and yeah, now we've got to have a look at the other bearing now, so we'll see what it gives. So now it's just the same procedure on the other side, just drifting away till we drift the other bearing out. So we've got the other bearing out of the wheel now, should be down there. Oh, look at the mess that is, can you see that? What a mess, probably needs replacing. So I just have to clean up these faces as well as I can before I flip it over and try and drift it out. You don't want any crud gouging or scouring this face on the way out. So that's an NSK bearing in there. So we turn it over, support the sprocket on these parts, not on the sprocket itself. Like that. And then see if we can tap it out. We'll see how it goes. Well, I'm using my favourite tool, which is this dead blow hammer. There we are. So now we just have to clean all these surfaces in here, just make sure everything's clean, and the same on the wheel itself. Clean these surfaces and then get the bearings in there.